everyone, welcome to the channel. If you ever wanted to learn to sew, or you are just curious about where to start, you're at the right place. Remember, sewing is all about fun, is all about expressing yourself, being creative in your skills, and the skills that you learn, anyone can learn, no matter your experience level. So today I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know to get you started on your sewing journey. Let's dive in. So what I'm about to tell you is just to make you or to help you feel confident as a beginner in your sewing journey. All right, I have papers here that I've written down a few things that I want to let you know, and the reason why I put them here is because I don't want to forget. So you will find me looking down is because I'm looking at my paper. Please do not be distracted. All right. Okay, so step one, let's just talk about the basic things that you need to get you started, right? For example, your sewing machine. Right here is a sewing machine, and if this sewing machine is not thread correctly, it doesn't have the correct thread, the correct needle, the setting is not correct, my work would never turn out right. The machine is basically the heart of your project. It's right at the start. You have to make sure everything is right, everything is going on right with your machine. Just get a strip of material and run it a few times. Make sure that the stitch is perfect. You need your scissors, you need pins, you need needles, you need a tape measure, you need so many things to start your work. When it comes to thread, make sure that you're using the correct thread. My preference is cotton thread. Some people like polyester threads, but I don't particularly like polyester threads. If you buy the good quality threads, cotton threads, they can be really, really strong. That's just my opinion. But whatever thread you use, just make sure that you use the right thread to suit the right material. All right, so now let's talk about the needle. As well as everything else, every fabric uses different needles. If you're going to use a cotton material, yes, you're going to use a fine needle. If it's a heavy duty cotton, for example, maybe like a canvas material, then you'll use a thicker needle. You just have to make sure you have the right needle for the right fabric. Now, choosing the right material. Choosing the right material as a beginner is absolutely important. I always say to my participants in my workshop, the best material I think a beginner should use is a non-stretch material. It's easier to handle, it doesn't go all over the place, it's not fiddly like a satin or silk, it's just stagnant, it's just wherever you put it, it stays, right? So always start with a material like a cotton material, canvas, things like that with zero stretch. And going back to the needles, there are some needles that you can use for all material, like a universal needle that can be used for most materials. So that's another option. If you buy needles, don't go buying all different types of needles. Buy universal needles to start with. All right, so now that we covered all of that, let's just talk about my recommendation for a beginner's project. And there are quite a few. But I think that as a beginner, especially if you never worked on a machine before, I think the best thing to work on is something with just straight stitch. Apart from you practicing your stitching and all that, something straight stitch. Maybe you can make a handkerchief, right? Because a handkerchief is square. All you need to do is turn in the ends and stitch straight. Start from there. Or once you're finished with that, you maybe want to make a kitchen towel. That's another thing that you can use, that you can make real quickly because it's another straight stitch project. You can also try a drawstring pouch purse. A drawstring pouch purse is another straight stitch. The only difference is that you'll have to stitch the sides and the bottom, then turn in the top. The top turn in a little bigger, then you'll have to make a drawstring. That's another straight stitch. Any project that you do, especially if you just started, it doesn't have to be perfect. Do not worry about your project being perfect, especially if you have never done it before. Just be proud of where you are and how you end. So now that we covered all of that, let's just dive right into sewing, okay? And the project that on the next level, once you are comfortable with what you're doing or what you did there with your kerchief, your towels, your tote bags, I mean, not your tote bag, drawstring bag, right? You're comfortable with that? Fine. Let's dive right into a sewing project. And the sewing project that I think you should start making, and that's another easy one, is a tote bag. That's another bag, that's another project that has straight stitching. Okay, it's very straight, nothing to it. Always start with straight stitch. Don't try to go around corners until you are confident with handling your machine. Okay, so as I said, we're going to dive right into the steps to make a tote bag, because I have a video showing you how to make a tote bag, and I think that will be really easy for you to follow as well. All right, so to make the tote bag, you have your material, you have the measurements for your bag, because everything needs a measurement, right? You know the size of bag that you need. You cut your pieces. Basic tote bag consists of, for a beginner, consists of maybe four pieces. If you want to add a pocket, then it would be 5 pieces. But for now, we're going to work with 4 pieces, right? The front and the back and the 2 shoulder straps. You can either prepare your machine before that or after you finish cut, right? So prepare your machine, get the correct thread, make sure your machine is stitching, the stitch is right, it's on the right setting, the right needle, everything is good, you're at the right level with your machine, and you're happy with everything so far. All right, so now we're going to put the material together. If it's a print material, whether it's a print material or not really, you have a right side and a wrong side. So you put the 2 right sides together, then you stitch the side seams. Whatever seam allowance you're giving yourself. In most cases, you give it like 1 centimeter seam allowance. So you stitch the sides 1 centimeter seam. And if you do not have an overlocker, you set your machine to a zigzag and you zigzag the seams at the end to make it nice and neat. Then you press. So now that you're finished stitching your seams, the side seam and the bottom of the bag, that is if you cut it in 2 halves. Okay, sometimes you can cut the bag in 1 continuous piece before you cut out the sides. All right, so let's just say everything is finished. You stitch your seam, then you not overlock, you zigzag the seam ends, then you press, so you have it nice and ready. Okay, all right, so all of that is finished. You continue with your bag and complete it by following the video, the instructions in the video. All right, so one of the things I want to tell you, right, is always practice, practice, practice. There's a saying that says practice make perfect, and that is so true. If you keep on practicing, you'll become better and better. And always start with something manageable, like something with straight stitches, right? And if you want to practice curves, like for example, if you have to go around your arm, you have to go around the neck, or whatever design you're going to make in the future, I suggest that you get a piece of paper, a A4 paper. You can draw various shapes on it with circles, curves, maybe a square, rectangle, triangle, whatever it is, and you can use that paper and stitch on your machine, just following those shapes. And that's a way of practicing how to go around curves. You can do it paper or fabric, whatever you choose. I suggest that another way of building your confidence and your skills, your sewing skills, is to join community groups. You could join groups on social media. You can join groups in your community. They have a lot of community centers that you can join for free. They have workshops around the place that you can join for free. And in those community centers or on the various platforms, you just interact with people. Maybe you want to interact with people that's more advanced so that you can learn from, or you might be comfortable interacting with someone on the same level. That's okay. As long as you both are learning, that's fine. All right, so always get to know other people who have the same interests. All right, so I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about myself so you can be motivated. All right, I remember when I first started to sew, my mother was a dressmaker, right? And I learned to sew from my mother. I was always around her. I got interested over time and got into the field of sewing. I've worked in various places with various professionals, right? I made a lot of mistakes. My first job was in a studio, a fashion studio where I'm from. And I was an apprentice and I worked my way up because they saw the interest in me. I worked my way up from picking threads, you know, when the dress is finished made, you cut threads and things like that, put on buttons, maybe sweep up the threads and stuff like that, go get materials or something from the material cupboard, until eventually I went on the machine. And the first machine that I worked on was an overlock machine, an industrial overlock machine. It was nice. I was happy. I made a lot of mistakes over time, trust and believe, a lot of mistakes. But the thing is, with those mistakes, I learned from them. Mistakes are there to be made. They are a lesson. And every project that I work on over time, it builds my confidence more and more. And that's what I want you guys to develop. Develop confidence in what you do. Be brave and go forth with your project. As I said in the beginning, sewing is all about fun. Fun, fun, fun. And this skill that you develop with sewing is going to be so amazing. It's about expressing your creativity, right? That's what sewing all about. Having fun and be creative, building your confidence. When you do something and that you're not sure of or don't even think that you can accomplish, and then at the end you see the result, it's like, wow, you'll be more confident to move on, right? So don't forget, practice, and let's keep going on your sewing journey. Now, so as I said before, I am going to link a few videos below. If not, search the sewing lessons. I think that's under that playlist, and you'll find a lot of videos that I was talking about, basically where you can learn to thread your machine, you can learn to choose the right material, the needle, you can learn a project or something like that. Always practice and enjoy your journey. Let's just keep it fun and engaging. Don't worry about being perfect. None of us are perfect. Even now, as an advanced sewist, I still make mistakes. I'm like, this morning I was working on something and I made a mistake. The mistake I made was that I forgot to add something to my work. That's it. And I felt like, oh gosh, I had to rip out all my threads, all the things I sew. So everybody make mistakes. I believe in you. So now believe in yourself. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And I hope you really enjoy this video. I decided to make something like this for you because I've never done this before. And I think it's kind of encouraging. So I hope you enjoy and you'll continue to practice and create fabulous things. And hope one day I'll be able to see them. All right. Thank you for watching again. And I'll see you next time.